welcome to Good Game Pocket Edition, the time-friendly show for gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Barjo, and this week we go into the year 2054 to the cyberpunk fantasy world of Shadowrun Returns.
But more on that later in the show. First, let's start with a return to another well-loved futuristic franchise, Halo Spartan Assault. Halo Spartan Assault takes the Halo formula and transforms it into a top-down twin-stick shooter for Windows 8 platforms. In terms of story, it takes place between the events of Halo 3 and 4, and explores what happens with the Spartan ops while Master Chief is elsewhere.
I like that they've kept the basic feel of a Halo game.
But to be honest, the story is kept to a minimum. This is about blasting stuff to bits. It is a bit weird though that for a twin-stick shooter, none of the platforms it's available on actually has twin sticks.
It's also strange that it's not on Xbox at all, and that makes me think that maybe it's a ploy to push Windows 8 a bit more. I think it's okay, Hex. I gave it 6.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Yeah, it's not a must-play for Halo fans, but it's a solid blast 'em up, so I gave it 7. Over on Spawn Point, we took a look at another mobile game, this time for iPad. Towncraft is a game about harvesting resources, crafting all manner of items, and building up a bustling little town for the pure satisfaction of creating and customizing your own virtual village. There are no enemies, no time limits in the basic mode. The focus is really just on the crafting and the building, so you're free to just get lost in that.
This is the kind of game that lends itself really well to touchscreens, as it involves a lot of tapping, dragging, and dropping of items as you juggle all your various resources to keep your town running. The crafting can be a bit confusing at times though. I often found myself at a standstill with the recipes. It does take time to stumble onto the right process, but that's part of the fun. It's like looking for a missing puzzle piece.
Yeah, I agree, and it is great when you figure those recipes out. And I still can't figure out how to get my bakery running, but the fact that I won't stop trying is a testament to the game's ability to really hook you.
Yeah, it's a great little builder, isn't it? I gave it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
It was 8 from me. Next up, another game to spring from the influence of Minecraft, Cube World. It's a huge, stunning world, which is actually built from voxels, or volumetric pixels, not polygons. So there's no mining here at all. It's all about killing monsters, snagging precious loot, and traveling to far-off lands.
The game has no tutorial, not even any music, and NPCs hardly say anything. So this is a game you must explore to discover and master. But it is labelled as being an alpha, so the creator is constantly updating and adding elements. As it is though, it's a magical place and fun to mess around in.
Because it's not quite finished, it's all a bit unbalanced and does need some more gameplay features, but I'm loving the ambience of it, and slaying beasties is great fun. I gave it 8.
Right now, it feels like about a 7 out of 10 to me. I think it has a lot of potential, but it's not quite there yet. Next up, State of Decay. State of Decay is the latest apocalyptic open-world zombie fest in which you switch control between a handful of characters struggling to survive against the horde.
This is sometimes more about zombie avoidance than zombie combat.
The game also has quite a bit of home-based management where you have to juggle supplies and keep up morale, which adds to the survival feel.
I was quite impressed with the world they've built here. They've thought a lot about all the little details, and those night cycles are really scary. I also really liked the intensity of holding out in a house, boarding up the windows and just hoping for the best.
To be honest, I did struggle with the look of the game. It's not the prettiest one out there, but the more I played this, the more I loved it and forgave its flaws. So I gave it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I gave it 8.5. Now, off to the Good Game Desk?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, first out of the inbox this week is Carla, who is from Queanbeyan, New South Wales. Hi guys, love your shows. I watch all 3 every week without fail. I'm very sad as I won't be able to buy the new consoles at the end of the year, as each requires the internet and I don't have the internet. Do you agree that the consoles are forcing people to be online?
Well, Carla, the good news is that neither console actually requires the internet. The Xbox One did originally, but they've dropped that idea now. It will still need to connect to the internet one time though when you first set it up. After that, it can be offline as long as you like. So you might need to set it up at a friend's house, or maybe use a phone to tether it to set up, if that's the console you want.
But the PS4 doesn't need an online connection at any point. It can be played just fine without ever touching the internet, although that'll mean you won't get any system or game updates. But moving on to this one from The Fooster, who is in Sunbury, Victoria.
Hi, Good Game. Could you tell me something about Star Wars Battlefront 3? I heard EA were making it. Thanks.
Well, all we've seen is a short teaser trailer which doesn't confirm much about the game other than that there are AT-ATs and snowspeeders and snow, and it's coming to next-gen consoles and PC. We're not sure when though, but probably next year.
Yeah, and that's all I need to get super excited for this game. But we can also tell you that EA isn't actually making it because they're not developers, they're publishers. One of the teams from DICE, who are best known for Battlefield, will be making the game. It will be on the same engine as Battlefield 4, so that's another reason to get pretty excited for it.
Okay, well, I think we can squeeze in one more question. It's from Dave, who is in North Nowra in New South Wales. Hey, Barjo and Hex. I've been wondering various details about GTA 5. I was going to pre-order it, but then I thought, what if I pre-ordered it and it is delayed again for the PS4, Xbox One? So I thought I'd ask the experts, and also, do you have high expectations for the game? Please read on show. Thanks, one of your biggest fans, Dave. Ah.
Well, Dave, GTA 5 is looking right on track for release on current-gen consoles in September. We even have a date, the 17th. Given that it's been widely publicised, we think they're pretty confident the game will not slip and be delayed again. Plus, it's far too late probably to switch over to next-gen consoles right now.
Yeah, I mean, if it does ever come out on next-gen consoles, it'll probably be in a few years as some sort of remastered next-gen version. But then they've actually confirmed that there are no next-gen versions currently in the works, so there's really no chance of it being delayed and pushed onto next-gen at all.
As for if we have high expectations, well, yes, for a start, the trailers are incredible. Rockstar generally make very good games, and I think it's going to be the pinnacle of this generation, technically speaking. At least that's what I hope. So, yes, pretty high.
Yeah, no pressure, Rockstar. But anyway, speaking of expectations, it's your review time. And how about we see what people thought of the latest Walking Dead episode?
Excellent choice, Hex. And glancing over the reviews, there seems to be a good spread of love and hate out there.
Give me a little something, just a taste.
Let's start with the Levin Dice, who writes, as a nice little bridge between Season 1 and Season 2, it's good to see that Telltale have still got some fresh ideas in the vastly explored franchise. Sadly, all I want is more. 9 stars.
And Tom here agreed that it left him wanting more, writing, I wish it was a bit longer, but it got me pumped for Season 2, and I missed Lee and Clemmy. 8.5 stars.
Slayer here didn't seem to mind so much and says, I liked how you got to play with more than one character. 8.5 stars.
Likewise, Assassinator also had nothing but praise. I thought it was a very well-made game. 8.5 stars.
Thanks.
Deerpool, however, starts on the slide into Hatersville, saying, where's the chimichangas? 5 stars.
Okay. Weird, but okay.
But Gary really brought the hate to the table, saying, sucks. 1 star. Ouch.
Well, Bradley seems he was depressed into a state of hate by the game, writing, sad, just sad, 0.5 star.
Okay, got one. A snake for a tongue.
Well, it isn't the happiest game around, that's for sure. But on that note, Badge, let's get back to the studio.
Yes!
Oh, watch the furniture.
Good game.
Shadowrun Returns is a turn-based role-playing game which throws orcs and elves and mages into a cyberpunk world.
Your friend Sam Watts is dead, but he still manages to send you, the only runner he trusts, a message and a job. There's a villain on the loose known as the Ripper who is surgically removing body parts from victims. It's a good setup, but really only worth it if you take the time to read all the dialogue. And the writing is quite good, isn't it, Barjo?
Yeah, it is. And you're right, you really do need to pay attention because it's such a deep story filled with interesting characters. This game does assume that you've played games like it before, though. Even coming from similar games such as XCOM, players will still struggle with the awkward interface and lack of an intuitive in-game tutorial.
Yeah, there are just a few simple things in menus that continuously halt the experience. Clicking through dialogue or trying to work out how to load a previous save, for example. I mean, there's so much room on the screen, there's no reason to have to go into all those fiddly sub-menus.
Yeah, some more shortcuts would have been nice. But the good news is, this game is really fun once you're past all that. After you start exploring new abilities, recruiting runners to go on missions with you, and learning how the combat works, the game opens up much more. And then you start to really enjoy the fights and appreciate how they complement the narrative.
I think my favourite part of this game is just the variety of classes and even the ability to kind of craft your own hybrid and experiment with that. And how you craft your character can help you out in certain dialogue choices and tactical situations.
And there's plenty of strategies to employ with all of the various abilities, and I think there's a lot there for gamers to get into.
And I think they've nailed that Blade Runner vibe perfectly. I liked how it transitions from action to RPG as you move around the levels. There's plenty of ambushes to keep you on your toes. Sometimes they can go horribly wrong though. You can also use enemies against each other, which mixes up the fights a bit too.
I think the class you pick or the class you craft is really important to how much fun you have in this game. I didn't have much fun with my mage. I found the mage really squishy, and often I'd get ambushed and killed straight away, losing heaps of progress. I thought the effects were a bit lame for the mage as well, just a few tiny sparkles and explosions, and I just wanted all of the combat to look more spectacular. I do feel like I'm being a bit negative on this game, and I do like that the stakes are quite high, that there is a fair punishment for death, but really the best is yet to come with Shadowrun Returns.
Yes, the game comes with its own level editor, which means there's already a whole bunch of user-generated content. The nostalgia associated with this franchise means that we'll likely see some great stuff come out of the community. I mean, already I see someone is remaking the SNES version.
I found it easy in the end to forgive most of this game's flaws for some decent turn-based combat. I had such a warm feeling playing this game because it's a narrative-driven turn-based RPG, and I feel like that's a lost genre that isn't shown enough love anymore. I feel like games like this never quite have enough of a budget or production values to both be accessible to everyone, but also deep enough to satisfy fans of the genre. There just aren't enough games out there like this, and certainly none that have a story as good as this one. But in the end, looking back, as much as I wanted to enjoy this game, and I really wanted to, I was just too frustrated by that interface, so I gave it 6.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think this mesh of lore is really hard to get right, but you can tell they've really thought about it as well. There's a lot of love in this game, so I thought it was worth a 7.5.
Good game.
Well, that's it for Pocket Edition this week, but don't forget you can catch regular episodes of Good Game Tuesday nights, 8:30 p.m. on ABC2.
Next week on the show, we're shrinking down to insect size and searching amongst the stems for food in Shigeru Miyamoto's Pikmin 3.
Could this be the first game that makes the Wii U a must-have console?
Well, we'll see. Until next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Banjo out.